Hey guys, it's Caden. So, as you know, today's video is going to be about dysphoria. I've struggled with dysphoria for a really long time, and I actually hadn't really been aware of it at a lot of times in my life, but it was still there. I've had it since I was about 5 that I can remember, and then it started manifesting itself more and more when I was about 12. And I had never really understood what it was, or I didn't really understand. I just knew I was uncomfortable and not happy and not content, with my body or with who I was, and for the physical aspects of myself, I was just not okay with, and it felt weird to me and uncomfortable and just not right. Basically, when I was 12, I would never wear low cut shirts. I would always wear shirts like this, and even when they're like this, I would continuously be pulling them up. Like this right here would probably have been too uncomfortable for me, too low for me, and so I would probably be pulling it up and pulling it up. One of those reasons is because of chest dysphoria or top dysphoria, however you want to phrase it. I didn't really understand it until, looking back, I'm able to see things a little bit more clearly now and see them as for what they are, as opposed to just, feeling things. So it's something I've struggled with a really long time, and something I continue to struggle with to this day. And one thing that I've actually been, thinking about a lot is, because I've been struggling with this for a majority of my life, is just the thought of, does it ever go away? And honestly, I feel like dysphoria doesn't go away. I feel like it's always there, whether it's, like when you're pre-T, it's wanting to be on T, and when you're on T, it's wanting surgeries, and, things like that. I've been on T for 2 years and 4 months, about there. I started July 29th, 2013, which is actually my little twin brother's birthday. So that's how I remember that. Before that, there was a lot of dysphoria with my body, pre-T, and there's still dysphoria with my body on T. So it still sort of lingers. Dysphoria does reflect, for me personally, a lot on my body image, and has a lot to do with my body image. And it also has to do with sort of outside perceptions, acceptance, safety, things like that. And the reason I say it never goes away, obviously it goes away, because obviously I'm more content with who I am now than pre-T. Pre-T, I was I sheltered myself, which is not the correct term, but it's a term that I'm going to use right now. And what I mean by that is that I sort of enclosed myself in this little box, and the more effects I had on T, the more I was sort of getting more and more comfortable in my own skin. But even with that, I was still, dysphoric. I still had dysphoria. I still have dysphoria. One thing that I was super paranoid about post hysterectomy was, if I wouldn't, I have to pay my T out of pocket. I have to pay for a lot of things in regards to my transition out of pocket. So if you don't know, testosterone is expensive, and it's something you have to get, depending on which method you take, whether it's cream, pills, shots, gel, whatever, it's usually have to get it maybe shots are a little less, but I think I would still have to buy them every 3 to 6 months. I want to say less than 6 months, but more than 3 months, something like that. And the cream's every 2 or so months, 2 or 3, and it's expensive. It gets expensive. It adds up. It's expensive on its own, and then when you're doing it, every couple of months, it adds up. And so I was paranoid that, because I don't have a lot of money, I work, my butt off to do what I got to do for myself, to take care of myself, because nobody else is going to do it for me. I don't come from a wealthy background or anything. None of my family really has any money. A lot of my family has always been struggling and still struggles to this day. So I was paranoid about not having the funds to continue my transition, basically. So I was really terrified of the fact that if I were to not have the funds to pay for testosterone, that I would, revert back, all my changes, not all my changes, because obviously testosterone does have some permanent effects on you, but like all my progress would, you know, had would have been for nothing. And so I was really paranoid about that, post hysterectomy. And I still struggle, with like body image, and earlier when I was talking about outside perceptions, the reason that makes me dysphoric is because, I don't care about what people say, I don't care about what people think, but it does, outside perceptions, acceptance, and safety are three things that make me dysphoric, because it's like, if somebody is sort of like confused by who I am, what I am, whatever, or if they misgender me, or if this happens or that happens, it can compromise my safety, and not a lot of people are accepting of it, and it makes me dysphoric as well, because especially if I get misgendered, and then then it just starts this like spiral effect, or a ripple effect, and everybody else starts like misgendering me and starts seeing me, like they'll say, to my face that they like see me as a guy, and then like behind my back they're misgendering me, or they're saying things that are ignorant and inappropriate. And for the most part I just cut people like that off, but it's still this thing that just freaks me out, and it gives me anxiety. And sometimes like I'll be walking around, and if I feel like people are looking at me, or something, and I feel like it's not a look where they're just looking at me because whatever reason, sometimes I'll feel like they're looking at me specifically because they know I'm trans or something, and they don't like it. I start getting anxiety, and I start freaking out, and I start getting dysphoric, because I just get so like paranoid and anxious and dysphoric about it all. And so, I'm gonna, in these next couple of videos, I'm gonna get more in depth and, go deeper and deeper into like dysphoria and take it step by step. But, just in general, I feel like, it's something that has always been, a struggle for me, and has always been difficult for me, and something I always like go back and forth with. And, even when I do feel like I'm getting closer and happier and stuff like that, and I'm getting, to a comfortable space in my life, there's still dysphoria there, lingering. And, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not done with my transition. I'm far from done. But, it is what it is. And, sometimes even just, like, not being stealth makes me dysphoric, like, just because, yeah, I still have yet to make a video about, my trans identity, and struggling with that, and accepting that, and being proud of who I am. But, I am proud, to be trans. It's just the fact that, not everybody needs to know, The reason I say that is because it just complicates things sometimes, and it makes for, like, harassment and stuff like that. I don't think it's necessary for me to like come out to every single person I meet. Sometimes in some situations, yes, like, for the most part I'm a pretty open guy, but I mean, there's just a lot of ignorant people, and sometimes ignorant people just don't need to know. Sometimes like it's just things that it's just not necessary for people to know. I would rather prefer to be stealth, just because so people don't talk and waste their time, because it's a waste of time. Honestly, it's a waste of time. And they're ignorant, and they don't know, and they're like uneducated, so it's like, okay. And it's a waste of my time to educate some people, because some people just don't get it, and they won't get it, and they're just so attached to their biases and their beliefs, and their bigotry, that they're never going to understand it, and they're never going to get it. And it does make for issues. It has brought up a lot of issues for me, and one of the biggest issues right now, and years ago, was when I graduated. It really fucked my shit up, basically. Pardon my French, but it did. And that's what's preventing me now from just sort of from pursuing my dreams, because I have this thing holding me back, and just, and it's like dysphoric to me, because it's like, oh yeah, so I just have to like, so I don't know, like, I don't know if this helped you, I don't know if you can relate, but that's how I feel. And you know, like, it does get better, obviously, and I am, like, so much more, like, content with my body and who I am, and, like, dysphoria isn't as bad now, and I can sort of not control it, but get through it, I guess, you know. But dysphoria is this crazy, insane thing that I'm always struggling with, and, like, I always am going back and forth with, and, you know, like I said, like, I'm gonna continue to say, I'm more content now than I ever was, but there's still things that I still, you know, want to work towards to be more at peace with myself and my physical body. So hope you enjoyed this. The next one will be Dysphoria Preety. All my info is down there. Let me know if you guys can relate. Hopefully this helps you out. And if you want to get a hold of me, like I said, leave a comment. Info's down there, and I'll see you guys next time. Say goodbye to Selena. Peace out.